Hello, my name is Elena Davis, and this is the DE7001 module. In this course, we learned about creative thinking, research methods, and contemporary influences. For our project, we focused on COVID-19, and through design thinking, we were to solve one of these many problem spaces of our choice surrounding it. My team's direction focused on solving the problem of delivery systems in the UK during isolated quarantining. In the Design Thinking Toolbox by Michael Lurick, Patrick Link, and Larry Leffer, when talking about design thinking, it specifies the objective is to generate as many ideas as possible, including wild ones, with the help of various creativity techniques. These creativity techniques can be broken down into three main topics: desirability, viability, and feasibility, all important aspects to keep in mind when designing something. In Stuart English's research study, he explores the use of multiple perspective problems framing. From this, he developed a chart called the Centers of Inquiry. This chart's main use is to help designers or businesses understand the value and strategy of their project. We began with brainstorming through mind mapping with sticky notes and areas of interest. Then after this, we mapped out Pestle for further ideation that may not have been discovered yet. This is a mix of creative thinking and considering our contemporary influences. After mapping these, we made various connections through all the sections using arrows. We pinpointed our own knowledge gaps, why we chose these centers of inquiry, and what we want to solve from this. Many of these were just ideas to ideate further from, but we eventually realized that three centers of inquiry had lots of overlapping: the NHS Track and Trace app, travel restrictions, and quarantine. We expanded further through radiant mind mapping and specified research based on findings, and noted how everything worked together as a whole system. From personal experience of my own, a lot of international arrivals must quarantine for 2 weeks. For people unfamiliar with the UK or going to uni for the first time, this is challenging, considered one might be without people they know in this new area to help them with necessity buying. They also may lack a UK SIM card to communicate with delivery services. In further research, we discovered that the Office of National Statistics estimate that 633,000 people had COVID-19 in December of 2020. It's also estimated that 107,610 people were self-isolating on their own. There were 272,000 international students studying in the UK in 2020, many for the first time. This meant that there were many others just like me, potentially in the same predicament that I was. We looked at current systems to see what was already out there. While there were several great systems in place already, some had flaws. For example, UniKit Out, a student delivery service, delivered general items you need living on your own, but didn't supply food. Another example being Northumbria University. While they had a food delivery service for quarantining students didn't have the option to choose the food items, and the delivery was often delayed by several days. We made the connection that the NHS Track and Trace app, while it does track and potentially help limit the exposure and transmission of COVID-19, it doesn't help individuals quarantining. We thought, what if we could create an NHS essential delivery program through the current app in place? While it has its strengths, I made some key insights: no hierarchy, structure, or delivery methods for quarantining individuals. We then did a design-driven adherence chart based on our Professor Rafiq's guidance. Here we highlighted key aspects the app could utilize as far as a user experience perspective. From doing this, we found that adding a quarantine countdown section to the app, ability to change the language, and advanced specific geographic information was needed. Donald A. Norman, author of The Design of Everyday Things, says that simplifying the structure of tasks makes things much more user-friendly. We kept this in mind as we designed our prototypes. We did wireframing of what the app's user journey would include. We knew that some users may have specific needs when arriving in the UK, so we thought adding a filtered system would be beneficial to get users through quicker and easier. We also realized some may abuse the next-day delivery system we had in mind, so making sure to verify their quarantine status was necessary. If an international student were flying in, for example, they could enter in their landing card details. Before moving on to designing the app any further beyond the wireframe, we wanted to make contact with potential partners for something like this. First, though, we would need to map these potential partners out. We created a sticky note board of potential partners which broke down into supplier delivery, volunteers, or other third-party companies like Deliveroo or Uber Eats. We then thought of regional supermarkets that were all over the UK. For example, Tesco has almost 4,000 stores nationwide. We also considered local stores to the areas or partnering with multiple stores. With a delivery system, we would need a third party to make most of the deliveries. Through a connection our teammate made, we managed to make contact with a major supermarket store and talk about potential partnerships. He said that it was something that they would be interested in as a company and could see us talking further at a later time when we were further along with the project. In the meantime of waiting for our potential partnerships to reply, we began designing the app based on ideation we did through wireframing the first drafts. We based these new designs off of current NHS brand guidelines. After finishing the initial design, we wanted to get design feedback and learn more about the business feasibility costs of bringing this project to life. We reached out to a UX/UI business, Creative Navy. In speaking with the designers, we gained very good feedback about our designs. Overall, they said we had a well-thought-out app interface with beautiful designs that carried the NHS brand identity well. They also gave us a price sheet estimate on what it would potentially cost to make the app integrations. For 4 weeks of design work, it would be around £30,000 to £40,000, and for coding, it would be anywhere between £100,000 to £120,000. We did get future improvement feedback as well. They mentioned making a hamburger menu for icons in the top right corner to go into, as well as making a few UX changes to the checkout process, which were very simple fixes. As a designer that has worked in the UX/UI jobs before, I could argue that a hamburger menu for that little of subsections may not necessarily be needed. If we carry this app into production, though, I would like to get more feedback from other UX design agencies, so we have a larger qualitative pool of feedback to take from. After our presentation to the NHS, we reached out to Mark Taylor, one of the reviewers, for more feedback on next directions. In his email to us, he told us that we need to think about the life cycle of an integration like this. With the rollout of vaccines, would the usage of this integration be maintained or decline? Who would be our direct line of competition, since Morrison's is now on Amazon Prime for delivery, and it's quite quick? All very good points as we move into 2021. Mark encouraged us to potentially pivot this idea into something that has a longevity longer than 2 to 3 years. Mark then got us in touch with one of the business development managers at Northumbria University so we could talk about potential business ideas reflecting our project and who we are speaking with in this present. Now I will show a basic walkthrough of the app redesign and delivery integration. We redesigned the home screen to have 3 icons at the top corner, which include information, change language, and notifications. We also included the number of cases in one's area. So say I'm someone that has just received a COVID-19 test result. I can then enter my test ID number through the app and indicate that I need to quarantine. After I see my positive result, the app then takes me back to the home screen where I can see that the venue check-in button has now been replaced with Get Delivery Aid. After clicking this button, it then takes me to another page asking what all I need during my quarantine. This also includes the option to get a UK SIM card delivered. After checking the boxes, it takes me to a filtered out page with exactly what I need, and I can make choices based on this. We also included a food filter for people that may have allergy restrictions. After making the necessary choices, I can then click Checkout, which takes me through a basic checkout system. This includes seeing my total, entering in my delivery information, picking a slot time to be delivered to and having extra instructions, payment method, and finally, confirming my order. Once the order is in place, you can then track the order by clicking the button provided. There's also another integration we made besides checking in through entering a test result. For international or high-risk residents, for example, we created a quarantine check-in button. Here, the user can enter their flight confirmation number here for proof of quarantine, or for this example, a GP recommendation number, which could be given to those that are high risk and would benefit from fast delivery services. This is to make sure that no one takes advantage of the delivery system. For my reflection on this project, I would say that we have a solid direction for potential pivot. Doing a project like this for the NHS was very beneficial in learning design thinking processes. The next steps of this project is going forward with speaking to our potential partners further to see if we could produce an output, even if that does mean we pivot our direction. Thank you.